Welcome to Get Lit. I'm Kate.
And I'm Pat, and welcome to the Civic Center Library here at Scottsdale.
We're here to share our beautiful library with you, as well as some services, books, and more that we're really excited about.
And we think you will be too. So, come on in with us.
Hello everyone, welcome to Get Lit with a special edition to start off your new year right. I'm here with Thomas Brown, who is the page supervisor here at Civic Center Library and a mental health advocate.
An armchair mental health advocate.
An armchair mental health advocate. And everybody around this place knows about Thomas and the Zen way that he goes through his daily life while the rest of us are running about like chickens with their heads cut off. So, Thomas, what we really want to know, what we want to get from you first is, what does mindfulness mean to you exactly?
To me, mindfulness means being present, being aware. Not only being aware of your surroundings and the people that occupy the surroundings, but being aware of yourself. What triggers you? Why do I think the way that I think? Why do I respond or react to the things that I respond to? So it's been like a lifelong practice to just learn me. And that's, to me, what I think is the most important aspect of mindfulness is not being just mindful of your surroundings, but being mindful of you and why you do the things that you do.
So it's not to be confused with self-consciousness.
I think self-consciousness is the first step, like that's the catalyst, you know, but after that, we're too used as human animals of getting into a repetitive motion, where once we do something a few times, we get into this kind of like robotic, repetitive behavior where we don't really think about it. It becomes second nature, kind of like breathing. You just do it. And we can get into that a little bit, the importance of breath in the actual practice. But beyond self-consciousness is being conscious of my mind, of my behavior and how I respond to stress, how I respond to joy, how I respond to any given situation that I might find myself in.
Okay, that leads me to the next question that I had, which is you speak of practice and mindfulness practice. What is a mindfulness practice?
Well, I think the most important thing is that mindfulness, self-awareness is not for some self-proclaimed guru. It's not just for an individual that likes to go to yoga and has their mat. It's not just for somebody that's into Tai Chi. Mindfulness and self-awareness is for everybody. You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to use certain language. You just have to be and be present with yourself. So I find a lot of people, like, they talk about meditation and they think that, like, oh, meditation is something that I do to silence my mind, to calm my mind. Well, first of all, you have to be willing of your mind. You have to be aware of what your mind is doing, and you have to be forgiving for what you're thinking. You know, don't take ownership of your thoughts. So I think the first part of any mindfulness practice is just getting yourself comfortable with all of you, and that starts with what's in between your ears, what's rattling around in your brain.
So then what are some ideas for how you could begin a mindfulness practice?
It's as simple as going for a walk. Going for a walk and paying attention to your breath. I think when you've got so much stress in your life and you've got a lot of anxiety and you're not used to this, I think the first place you should start is just becoming aware of your breath and having a relationship with your breath, because your breath leads to your body. So when you are if you're sitting in a chair or you're doing an activity, just start to concentrate in the back of your mind, because you don't want to lose focus of what you're doing. Just pay attention to your breath. Is it shallow? What's the speed? What's the cadence of my breath? Is it shallow and quick, or is it slow and deep? And usually, the next step would be to, if it's shallow, why is it shallow? What's my environment like? What have I been thinking about all day? What have I been stressing about all day? And if you find that you have had some stress, you have been a little bit anxious, you are uncomfortable with your environment. That might have led, or maybe you've drank too much coffee, but that led to that quick, shallow breath. So what you would want to do is then consciously just start to like slow your breath down, slow, be a little bit more present with it, let it go deeper, hold it. I usually visualize that I'm breathing into my stomach, holding it for a count, and then releasing it. And you want to kind of like get to the point where like the inhale is 3, 4, 5 seconds long and build on that. And then you hold it for a second, and then the exhale is 3, 4, 5 seconds long. Now this isn't going to solve your problems. I think that's another important thing. It's not going to cure your anxiety. It's not going to solve all your problems. It's not going to eliminate all the stress in your life. But if you become aware of your body, become aware of your mind, become aware of your breath, you might be able to. Your body is going to be the tell for any triggers that might be affecting you subconsciously. And so then you resort back to what have I been thinking about, what am I stressing about, how's my body acting, am my palms sweating, is my knee bouncing, do I have tightness in my chest, and then bring it back to your breath. Just breathe.
So it sounds to me like it isn't so much I'm doing this to achieve a goal, it's a process.
I'm doing it to chill out. I'm doing it to find calmness. I'm doing it to find peace and ease. Because if you're stressed out, a friend of mine told me this a long time ago. I don't know if he found it in a fortune cookie or if he, heard it from some celebrity or something. But if you're happy, nothing else matters. If you're unhappy, nothing else matters. So I contribute that to peace as well. To me, peace is happiness. If I'm calm, if I'm relaxed, if I could find some peace, no matter how chaotic the world is, no matter how chaotic or stressful my life is, if I can at least find some peace and realize that like I don't have to control this, I don't have to hold on to it so tightly. And if I could do that just by becoming, being a little bit more present with my own breath and body, and just for a moment, chilling out and being calm, that's enough. That's all my goal is.
I think that this is going to be a good thing for all of us to think about as we go forth in this new unprecedented year. Thomas, I understand you have some very helpful books for people, and I'm just going to step away, and you're going to take it away with what you're recommending for us that will help us get started on our mindfulness practice.
All of these books are books that not only have I read, but they're also part of the Scottsdale Public Library catalog. I'll start down on the bottom, these 3. All of these are written by clinicians, therapists, psychologists, and they bring a bit of science to mindfulness, to meditation, to stress and anxiety, and your mental health. The Monkey is the Messenger by Ralph De La Rosa is the first book. Again, Ralph shares a lot of his experience. He was an addict. Deals a lot with recovery, and also gets really to the root and the source of where his addictions came from. Uses examples from some of his clients, and then shares a few different meditative practices with mantras that you can follow. And I even believe that there is a link to a website where you can listen to some guided meditations. So Monkey is the Messenger is a really great book. One of the first ones I read, Buddha's Brain, The Practical Neuroscience of Happiness, Love, and Wisdom by Richard Hanson. This is a little bit more technical. This one's a little bit more technical. It's a really fun read. It's a really good read. Much more science-based than Monkey is the Messenger. Still uses a lot of examples with patients, but it's very. If you kind of have more of like a scientific mind, this is the one to really start with because it gets into brain chemistry and what's going on inside your head. Now, if you like learning about anxiety and depression and mental health and mindfulness through the eyes of science. If that's something that you're digging, along with the Buddha's Brain and Monkey and the Messenger, but you have a little bit more of an edge to yourself, I highly recommend this book by Faith G. Harper, Unf Your Brain, Using Science to Get Over Anxiety, Depression, Anger, Freakouts, and Triggers. This book is really, really fun. I really, really enjoyed this book because not only does it deal with the subject matter that I love, that I'm very passionate about, but Faith has a certain grit to her. She has a certain attitude and realness that she brings to the conversation about mental health. And there's a lot of great examples, meditations. She brings up different situations that you might be experiencing, that you've experienced yourself, and then tells scientifically this is what's happening in your brain, and this is how your body is responding to it, and then this is how you can maintain it. All right, last two books. The Miracle of Mindfulness, an introduction to the practice of meditation by Thich Nhat Hanh. You can't not get into the whole game of mental health and mindfulness without at least dipping your toe into Thich Nhat Hanh. This is just a really good introduction to the entire practice of mindfulness, much more philosophical. It's very poetic in the writings and really, really easy to understand, and I really, really enjoy this book. If you're going to start anywhere, if you're not about the science, if you want to just have something as an introduction, I really recommend this book. Lastly, like Faith Harper, Chris Grosso, author of Everything Mind. This is a fantastic book. This is one of those books that kept being circulated, and I kept seeing it in Dropbox, and I felt like it was speaking to me. Either that, it was just a really pretty cover, and I was attracted to it. Chris Grosso has a recovery background, a lot of addiction, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration in his life. My own personal experience with anger and frustration is something that really drew me to his writing. This is for everybody, because it doesn't matter where you're from. Chris Grosso is the individual that really shows that you don't have to be somebody that goes to a yoga class. You don't have to be somebody that goes to the ashram. You don't have to be somebody that's looking for the guru on the mountaintop. Because Chris Grosso talks about having a transcendental spiritual experience while at a Slayer concert. He's really into pop culture. He really brings in his love of music, of hardcore music, of metal, of hip hop, of gangster rap, and infuses it into his practice and his journey with recovery and how he has used meditation. There's also a lot of examples of some of his rock bottom moments in life, and the different methods that he used to come back up out of that darkness. There's some examples for meditations. There's some mantras in here. It's a really fun book, and I highly recommend Everything Mind by Chris Grosso.
And thank you to Thomas for a fantastic presentation on his meditation. Today, I'd also like to introduce you to Jennifer Wong Ortiz, and she is the Community Engagement and Outreach Coordinator. Please, Jennifer, tell me what this is.
Thank you, Pat. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Like Pat said, I'm the Community Engagement and Outreach Coordinator for the library system, and I'm here today with the Lone Ranger. It is Scottsdale Public Library's book bike that was purchased in the summer of 2019 with the intent of bringing our services out to you using Scottsdale's many bike paths. As you can see, it is a very specially designed book bike. It is unique and one of a kind, and we actually had it commissioned so that it reflects Scottsdale's most western town of the West motto here in Scottsdale. In the fall of 2019, we had a public naming contest in which the Lone Ranger name was chosen by the public, and in February of 2020, we debuted the Lone Ranger at the Parada del Sol Parade. The library participated as a part of the Community Services Division, and we as a division actually won the Best City entry. I like to think it was because of the Lone Ranger that we won the award. Right now, because of the current conditions, we aren't able to take the Lone Ranger out into the public like we would like to, but hopefully once this health crisis has passed, we are going to be able to create a forum so that the public, such as yourselves, can request the Lone Ranger to be present at one of your community events, such as a school festival or a neighborhood block party. Until then, we hope you stay safe and healthy, and hopefully we will be able to see you guys on the streets soon.
Oh, wait, before we go, we wanted to talk to you for a second about our book discussion groups. We're meeting virtually. We've got a couple going right now. I'm starting in January the Outer Limits Virtual Book Club, where we're going to look at the best and brightest of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. We're going to meet virtually on the last Saturday of each month. First meeting will be on January 30th from 10:30 to 11:30 online. Our first book will be The City in the Middle of the Night by Charlie Jane Anders. This one won the Locus Award a couple years ago. It's very good. I'm about halfway through it. You should join us. Future picks include the New York Times notable book, The Changeling by Victor LaValle, and The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. We look forward to seeing you in the Outer Limits.
Also, you can join us in January for the Virtual Classics Book Club. On January 23rd, we'll be reading Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And in February, we'll be reading Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And March, we'll be reading Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Hope you can join us.
Wait. One more thing before we let you go. I'm willing to bet that you've probably read a book by a local author sometime recently and have thought, I wish I could meet this person. Well, Wen Ling, one of our adult services librarians, has an exciting announcement for us about a programming coming up in the new year involving local authors. Take it away, Wen Ling.
What if I told you that you could meet these authors in person? Wouldn't that be exciting? In the following months, starting in January, we will have a virtual local author book talk series. Each month, we will feature a group of local authors who will share their new books and talk about their passions for writing with you. So, the first program will be available on Fridays at 6:30 p.m. on January 22nd. All you need to do is tune into our library's YouTube channels, and you don't even have to register, so don't miss it!